when the last update I made was. I believe it was when I was building, I guess I'll just start the game actually. I believe it was when we were building the big island. It was the last time we, we did an update. Gotta go get the apple real quick. I don't even know where to start. I'm probably gonna make a version of this map at some point that is, that's like, has a little text box over it explaining kinda, I guess, the history and stuff, just because. Got this tiny island that's just kinda hanging out. Okay, that is... Okay, I'm actually just gonna go into creative and do it. That was making a lot of noise. It's not actually done yet, because I need to add more of these around. But that's not really that isn't really a big concern. I might try to make big, like, expos or whatever what are they called? Like, ballista? There we go. Where even is it? Oh, there's... Ah, yes, it is a weapon. Can I become Apple without it prop pinging and, like, making a lot of noise? Kind of, alright. Yeah, no, we're just gonna go through normally. Okay, so, obviously we got this tiny island that's kinda nothing. And we got... I don't know why I got a hammer, to be honest. Yeah, that works. So then we got the little farm. I added in cabbages. They look pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. I like them. What is going on right here? Is it... Why is it doing that? Okay, well, I'm just gonna skip over that. We got a little farm, which actually... I don't know why stuff is doing that, but, you know, whatever. Moving on, okay. I need to put my fly speed way down. This is a struggle or high, so... Moving on, I guess we'll go over here first. A little forest, probably could put more effort into this, but, you know, it works. And we got the main port of Greymount, I'd say. With their, like, kind of governors or city, like, main person of the city's place. Oh, that looks really nice. Props to me. So yeah, we got little fortifications on all the islands. Lighthouse. And then there's the little gate, the gate right here that goes into their port. We got the normal warships, like the base warships, and fishing boats and other such small boats. Oh yeah, there's a big tree up here. I like it. There's probably a lot of places on this map. Ooh, I just remembered. I was gonna say, there's probably a lot of places on this map where That would be like cinematic shots. It's like 40 fog thickness was like 40. I don't know, man. I had like a whole. I worked through it and like. Nah, fog thickness has got to be way up. Fog color. Hello? Maybe. Okay, I'll just set it all back to normal if I can't figure this out quickly. Yeah, I'm just gonna set it back to normal. Just go noon. Set this back to that. 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 I had a whole like cinematic thing, or like cinematic version made up, and it looked really nice. It had like a little bit of fog, and then like light shining in. So yeah, like look, this is a pretty cool little shot right here. I like this kind of general area. I will say I did have to get a little bit copy and paste on the forts. Like look, this one's kind of sad. It's just a normal fort, but like whatever. And then yeah, that one looks so nice though. Moving on. I might have gone a little bit hard on the fire. And if I could go into the apple form without it like lagging, or not lagging, making a bunch of noise, could go through, walk here. I'll just do it quickly for a second. And again, I'll probably make a bunch of tweaks and stuff to this. It's like, look, you can see, like, look at that. That is a cool shot. So yeah, this is the like capital city of Greymount. We got the normal people in here, and then you can't actually walk up this. Then up here you got the rich folk. Even though they have the same houses, but you know. And then yeah, another cinematic shot right here. Here, hold on. I didn't start the game, did I? Oh wait, yeah, there we go. I just noticed there's a flag in here. Do I? Okay, that's why it's still there. So here's the main castle. Looks pretty cool in my opinion. Pretty solid. This is the first part, so, and then yeah, there's like this forest with the homie in there. There were, yeah, oh, they're still there. I just couldn't see them for some reason. Oh, is it cause, oh, it's cause for some reason, like from some angles, they get weird. Yeah, there's little apples. And then you got the forest, you know, mountain up here, destroyed area. Some occult things. This area back here is a little bit bad, but I just had no idea what to put here. And a spike fell off because reasons, I don't know. Big bridge right here, I like it. I think I did a pretty good job on this. And I did, so at first it was just this island right here. I think that one and that one were also here. And then, like, I think then it went to this one, and then at some point I added the little archipelago here. But this island, essentially, like I didn't add anything else onto this island once it was done. I added this stuff over here. Also, like, bro, look at the ships though. Ooh, smexy. Anyway, a little bit sick right now as well, so sorry if my voice is kind of bad. Again, this might, we might add more islands and more stuff and probably make small changes throughout the lifespan, which one of the cool things about this is a lot of the areas, if you're at the Apple at least, you can walk through. Like this, you can actually just walk through as a person, but like if you put your camera low to the ground, you can just like look at that. Like, ooh. Render distance is a little bit scuffed. Then there's, I didn't, there was going to be a farm here, but you know, it'd be a pretty normal farm. There's this area, like a bunch of crash ships. We got this island, which is kind of their religious center, and their secondary main port. Which I will say the structure of the city is kind of copy and paste, or a little bit normal, but you know, it's whatever. It's fine, but I do really like this building though. This is like an upside down plant, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Upside down plant pot with like a chandelier added on top of it, I believe. And then we got single gold bars on here. I believe at this point Jeremy did some of this stuff. I'm not 100% sure what exactly, but I believe he did like maybe some of the terraining and putting trees in and such. Oh, trebuchets. So yeah, this is their like main church. They're the llama homies, as you can see in their flags, and sails and such. And there's like a little bit of a story to this, so the fish homies, which we'll get to in a second, like attacked this dude, and then, you know, they sent out the navy. Here's their flagship, their #1 ship that leads all the other ships and such. And then I'm gonna move on to the fish island, because that island kind of is like the last part of the quote-unquote story. We'll go straight to the El Capital. This is their like main port, obviously. Actually, this isn't. Would this be their main port? God, I don't know, man. Because this is like out here, and like I think this would be their main port. But yeah, so this would be their main port, their capital city, which it's the best city, pretty easily, I think. These cranes are pretty epic, not gonna lie. Yeah, but this is the best city. A lot of the houses look pretty distinct and like different from, like they don't all look like they're the same exact house, you know. You can also look through and it has like, you know, it has taller buildings, it has topography. This is the church in the city, you know. In the city church. God damn it. There we go. Okay. I'll just leave it. Yeah, but I like that it has like height to it. Also, if you go up, it looks like, look at the roads. They don't all look like, you know, all over the like they don't look like a straight line like everywhere. They feel like they're more of an actual city. Yeah, but they got like the main gates here are here, I believe, I would assume. This is kind of a side gate to get out to the fortress over here. And then like we got some smaller forts and stuff. Like I don't know why these are doing this. Yeah, I can't unselect them. Ah, that kind of ruins it. Okay, this is like really broken up, but I'm gonna try to, I'd like to be able to look at the castle, like the main castle, and it not be like some of the spires. Yeah. Oh god. Some of the spires not be frickin' green and like selected. And Jeremy on this island was working on it with me from the beginning. Uh, Jeremy did a lot of the like I guess I'd say dirty work of putting trees, rocks, making mountains. He placed a lot of the houses in the main city, and then definitely helped with the shape of the island and like making the island. Alright. If we load into the creative hub and it's taking this long to load the hub, like, we have a problem. Bro, damn. Look at that. Anyway. Moving on. So, back to the main city. Let me get the AUG back, because that is really good for zooming in and... There you go, alright. So then they got, this is kind of the poor area, you know, like, or not the poor, I guess this would be like the, no, this should still be kind of poor, but like, not the poorest of the poor. The poorest of the poor live out here. In just like a small area. This is a drawbridge so they can get through, which this is why, yeah, I'll get that in a second. Here's the rich area. They got like the big houses and gold houses and such. Which I believe there's supposed to be a road coming back. Oh, okay. A road coming back here. Yep, these are like the richest of the rich. And then up to the next tier, this is the like in castle kind of sept. This like big circular structure. And this little area like along here would be like where all like the more noble people come to stay. So I guess you could say the even richer of the rich. And then finally once you get up to like this structure, that tower, and especially this top piece, this is like the actual like king and queen and such. So to get this should be like a massively difficult city to attack. Like let's just walk through what you'd have to do. Number one, so if you're attacking from this direction, they just like uh bring the drawbridge up and you can't get to them. You'd have to go all the way around over there. If you're coming from the sea, they got like the giant walls, and then there's no like staircase. You have to get up using cranes, which they control. So, and like the next closest port would be over here. So you'd have to make your own way up while they're like I haven't put the trebuchets in yet, but while they're shooting at you with like trebuchets, arrows, and such. And then let's say you get in through either this gate or the other gate over here, which is more of a supply gate, you know, like people still come in this way, but you know, this is where they get all the wood and like food and such through. And then once you get into this area, you know, like, well done, you've taken the largest area of the city. Also, look at what it looks like from above. That's so cool, bro. That's so cool. Also, I forgot to look at this one from above. This one also looks pretty solid from above. Yeah, but let's say you get into here, you know, you're pillaging the poor people and like the poor to mid-range, I guess I'd say. number one, they got these like kind of secondary main forts, which I don't. These might just be military, but you could also, if you've watched Game of Thrones, you could also say there's like kind of like Dragonstone, where like the prince or princess comes to kind of live here, the heir to the throne, or you know they just live up there. I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, here let's like look at that, bro. It looks so cool. Anyway, so then let's say so you get here, you know, you like I love the tiny details I add. I forget about them and then I'd read like look at this. That's like oof. Which kind of so yeah, you get this area. Well done. Congratulations. All the poor people are dead. And then but then you have to get through this gate, which is even more fortified. Yeah, because I also, oh my god, I keep remembering little details I do. So, you know, you got the walls with the towers. You can tell this is more fortified because there's these along the way. Like, instead of just uh, the normal wall, like, top, they're topped off with the thicker pieces. Just like working on it while giving the full tour. Don't mind me. God damn it. It should not be this hard. That's good enough. Yeah, so you can tell this is more fortified. Ooh, that's so cool. And then, so, yeah, so let's say that you also get through here somehow. So you've pillaged and burned the richest, like, common citizens. Then, which I don't really... Let's try to showcase this a little bit more. Then you'd have to get up through the mountain, which is, like, kind of what my thinking was, is, like, they have passages, a big, like, staircase and, like, way to get through the mountain up to the main castle. Or you have to go up this tower right here. So then you have to get to this, which is like another gatehouse or point of entry that they can defend. So then let's say you even do that. Then you're up to the like next tier of wealth. Oh, also there's a little tree right here. I like that. The like super rich people don't have to go out here to get their tree. There's just a tree right here. It's a nice little tree. Um, yeah, you get up here and like this isn't as fortified because you know they're not expecting anyone to even. Also, they're on a mountain at this point. These dudes are just like on flat ground. So then, even if you get up here, then you have to work your way up through here, through the like sept building, through the mountain. Then you can get to here, and then you still have to get up to there. And like they'd have a bunch of like secret passageways and stuff going down through the mountain to get more like food and resources into the castle, even if you like try to siege them. Basically, this would be an immensely difficult city to siege or to take. Alright, I've been talking about the city for way too long, and I'm gonna keep talking about it because this is the military, like academy or compound. This is where all the people that like in the military go to train. So we got the barracks, then like the higher ups barracks, and then this is like the main like training building and where they do stuff. And you'll notice that there's a bridge here. So the military dudes can even come in here to reinforce it, like the upper levels. Even if you take the lower levels. Bro, oh my gosh. Love this drawbridge. And then this bridge also functions as like a gate and kind of a into their, which this is why I was struggling. If this might be more of their main port, I think. Which this is actually their shipbuilding area. So we got this small little like fishing village and like it's just a smaller village, you know, hanging out over here. This area could use some love. But yeah, this is like their their lumber area. Uh, this is absolutely beautiful. I love this. This is their shipbuilding factory, and these walls are more to keep out people who might try to like sabotage it or like ruin or like destroy the ships or the facility. Bro, like look at it. Oh, it's so cool. Ooh. Like look like oh like look at like we got a look at the like little rails that it goes on. They pull the dam down to let the water in. This is the dry dock. Bro, I love this. Look at it. It's so beautiful. You got the 3 cranes to put it together. Then we got, yeah, I think this is actually their main port. Because this is like this is kind of their main, I guess, producing city, you know. This is where like like a lot of people live and, you know, you still get a lot of production out of it, but like this city has like blacksmiths and stuff. And then, they got the shipbuilding area and this is like their shipping area, I take it as. And this is their Coliseum. We got the little like shades for the rich people who are higher up, and then this area would be for all the poor people. I believe that's where like the king or emperor or whatever, I think it's a king actually, would sit like right in there. And then this is like the king's quarters while at the Colosseum. Like this is the king's away house. Or, so, and again, like, ooh, I like the roads, bro. Yeah, but and we got. There's nothing much. Actually, never mind. There's stuff. Ooh, I forgot about this little village. We got a few little villages out in the woods. I'm not really sure what this village is about, to be honest. It's just kind of out here. But they're here. Maybe they like harass the shipping place. Then this is a fort for the dudes over there, which I actually changed their name to Vol. I don't know if I like that. I might change the names around. They were Hull, and then I realized that all of their flags have a massive V on it. So I was like, let's actually just make it Volt. But this is the only wooden fort. I like it. It's a little bit basic, but I still like it. I like how it fits on this. And then there's this little village, which is kind of like a cult out in the woods. This is like the most isolated village, bro. Look at this. The closest like other village is there and there, and then the closest city is either there and there, and then there's a mountain. They got their little dock back here with some little fishing boats. It's like a sustenance-based society. Oh yeah, they got a bigger gate here to bring in all their materials, and then they got a smaller gate for all their personnel to enter. You know, so like they can control people, like the who's coming in more easily. I'll check this for a second. This is, I I think it's pretty easy to see, but this is like a destroyed kind of village and castle, which there's 2 ways that I look at this. Number one, this island used to not be completely united by this giant kingdom. Uh and then so this was a like kind of independent little kingdom, and then they got destroyed by these dudes, which they have a pretty fortified position here. So they got destroyed by these dudes, and there's like all their stuff is falling apart. Or these guys destroyed them. I think it's more likely that these guys destroyed them, so I'm gonna go with that. Yeah, so these guys did not go well for them. We'll move on to the rural area. So this is like the little houses scattered about, like sustenance farms. Go over there in a second. Okay, this is the third. I don't know. You can I'd classify it. This is the second biggest city, and then this. No, this is like the third biggest city. This is the second. Obviously, that's the biggest. But this is their religious like area. Also, this is their like breadbasket. You know, this and like the rural area right here. This is where they got all the big farms. You know, the farmhouses are pretty thick, and they got their wheat and not potatoes, cabbage and pumpkins. And then here's their like main church. This is made out, and then that would be like where the equivalent of the Pope lives. So you can actually go in there if you're like the apple, or I bet you can go in there as a pumpkin. Yeah, but like, this is their main church. You can't go inside the other one, but you know, it's whatever. It's where the Pope lives, essentially. And then this is where like the old church was, and then it got destroyed, so they built a new one down here. Notice how the old one is like, you know, it's up here. It's like they're like built in a defensive position. So I take it as they were during the when the island wasn't united, they had to be more protected, but at some point it got destroyed, and then once the island was united, they didn't have to they didn't have to worry more as much about getting attacked, so they just built it in like a down here on the side. I like how it has stained glass windows and stuff. It has the big golden fish. Then obviously it's like a smaller city, you know, and they got this island over here which is has some houses on it. This is like their third port. They got like a bunch of fishing boats and such. But there's not much of a military presence over here. They got 3, 4, 5 boats, but that one's going back that way, so they're probably like just carrying goods over to there. So I got 3, 4, 5 boats, and then yeah. So this is their like little like this tree. This is their religious area, and once again, look at the roads, beautiful. Like I like the topography, bro. Like it's really flat and low down here in the center, and then as you go out, there's like it gets taller. And then so let's get over to these guys real quick. These guys are once again, if you've watched Game of Thrones, these are like the Iron Islands. This is their flagship. It's you know since they have less resources and they're smaller, obviously their flagship is going to be smaller. So you know their flagship is just basically a slightly bigger version of these boats. But yeah, they're basically the Iron Islands from Game of Thrones, essentially. And I think the they have like a not a similar. They have a no, they do have a similar, but they have a semi-similar like architecture to the dudes over there, you know. So you could be mistaken into thinking the same person or the same country. They are not. These guys are kind of their own thing, hanging out up here. So in this, like, the overarching, I guess I'd say, story of the map is these guys are attacking these guys, and then these guys kind of jumped on them because they're opportunistic, like they're raiding and stuff. But yeah, they got a pretty small population in here. I did make the castles look different enough, you know, they're more of like a circular kind of fortress, and then they got like the spikes and stuff out here. I don't think this is supposed to be here. And then yeah, they got a pretty good navy for their size because you know they're completely based on raiding these guys over here. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats, and then their flagship, or capital ship, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, so this I like this. It's just a slightly bigger version of the smaller ships. What if I moved that up? Nah, that's not good. Yeah, so this guy's like trying to run away because obviously he's incredibly outmatched. Yeah, but once again, I like the bridges. I did a few bridges. Once again, Germany did help out with like the dirty work, I'd say. I did most of the detailed stuff because like that's my thing. I really like the small stuff. Like, but Germany, like he went around and placed a lot of these houses and the houses over there, and then did a lot of the, like I believe he did all these like hills and a lot of the topography. But yeah, so those guys kind of a third party that are just kind of doing what's best for them. If they could raid those guys over there, they would, but they can't really because they're too far away. We'll move. I like this little hillside. I did this completely unintentionally. Like this side of the hill. It looks really nice and I like it. So then we'll go, I need to become a pumpkin for this part. Which looks like the pumpkins don't have the, Yeah, they don't have the like thing that the apples do, where they like make a lot of sound effects. This might be my favorite part of the map. This little farm area. It is so like I don't know. It feels so chill in here. We got some wheat on here. This farmhouse, waterfall, which is this is the only river on the map, which I feel like that might need to change. And then like look at this. They're just in their own little like meadow. I do like that you can see a little bit of the old church falling down in here. Yeah, but this is the only river and waterfall on the map. I might need to add more. And then they got their little like cabbages and pumpkins and their apple tree. I don't know. This is like it's just so chill, and I love it. When we come back here, it's just like a thick forest. Here's the river again. I like the I like how the waterfall goes off the map. So it comes through here, out through here. And this little island's got a dude just chilling up here by himself. No idea what his deal is, but he's here. It's their little outpost, just to like, more of a watch outpost. And they got a small dock just to kind of exchange dudes. And then we got this wackiness right here, which I don't even know. Like, we just, if you like think about this map too much, it starts to not make sense, but it's not for that. It's still look cool. Look at that. And this is kind of like a really wacky house if you haven't noticed already. It's just like, it's weird, you know. That's kind of it. They got a smaller fort up here, which again, I'd like to think this used to be like a rival, little king or lord or whatever. And I like that we made the, architecture a little bit different. You know, these guys have like an X. They're more of like a squarey architecture. These guys up here are like a circular architecture with these like spires on top. These guys over here, you can't tell because they got obliterated. There used to be a bridge here, and I like that you can see the like part of it that fell off. Yeah, but oh, that tree's falling. That's cool. Dude, this is so weird. I'm going through and noticing things that I forgot about. Um, and then these guys have like a circular architecture with the spikes, and then these guys over here are more of like a squarey triangle architecture. And then they got, you know, some circular towers. I wonder what the first circular tower I did. I think it was this up here. Yeah, I believe it was the main tower. Yeah, but I do that, and I don't even think that was intentional. I think I was just like going around like, no, this should be different. So like, there's like, say, 3 different like kingdoms or lords at one point, and then these guys got conquered, and obviously they like surrendered at the right time, or they just didn't get obliterated to the same degree that those guys did. So they're just like they're still here, you know. They're probably like the second most powerful like family or house in this area. And, dude, I just love this little area so much. It's beautiful. And then we got like definitely a cult village. This is their sacrifice rock. There's a house like hanging off the edge over here. I believe that's everything on this island. We got cult number 1, cult number 2, maybe a cult, I'm not really sure. These guys have a little outpost up like over here. So if you were to make like a map of everyone's territory that they held, it'd be like this little chunk here would probably be owned by these guys, and then they would own obviously their island, and maybe you could give some of the coast over here to them. And then 90% of this island is owned by Eltrin. They're like, so obviously excluding that, and then maybe a little bit of the coast up here. That island, and that island are all owned by Eltrin. And then these dudes own this island, all obviously the archipelago, that one, that one, that one, and this one we'll get to in a second. And then basically these guys have a smaller population. than Eltrin. If you just take a look, like, let's look at this. Which again, if you compare, like, the if you compare the size of the houses, it gets really weird. Like, if we look at these guys, they got a pretty small, like, capital city. If you come over here and compare it to the behemoth, look at how many houses there are. There's so many. Like, look at the size of this thing. Like, I believe we measured it. This thing is like if you go from one end to one end, 13 meters. From here up to over there, it's like 11 meters. And then if you come over here, which the castle isn't even in the city, this would be a bitch to attack, bro. Like, I went through a whole synopsis on how hard that would be to take. This castle would be virtually untakeable, because they could just destroy this bridge and then they're safe. That being said, they don't have, like, direct access to the ocean. So even if they had, like, tunnels to get out, you could just set up a siege around the base of this whole mountain. So they might be able to, like, sneak away through the woods over here. But yeah, if they destroy that, you're screwed. And then obviously they got this tall, higher up place that is gonna be harder to take, because there's only one way to get up. So yeah, this would be incredibly difficult to take as well. Then these guys over here also have a difficult place to take. They got their own port, and then you have to go up through this one to this, like, I imagine this would be like where they hold their feasts and stuff, and like where they kind of do all their dirty work that a castle needs to get done. Then over there would be like the main family and maybe like guests that they have or and stuff. Oh, this would also probably be their barracks and like where their military happens. And then yeah, so you have to go up through here, and then they can destroy the bridge, and then you have to get to this. And that's before you can talk about getting up through here. Yeah, so basically all the castles are really defendable. This one would probably be the least so. Even then, they can just destroy their, like, staircase up. And then they're even on, like, a small little kind of peak up there. Yeah, these guys must have been difficult to destroy. Alright, we'll get over here. So this is a little, like, outpost, kind of stepstone between this and this island. I guess I'll start on this end. So they got a lighthouse, and then these are their ships protecting their port back in there. That kind of, it's a smaller little dock, but you know, this is more of a colony, I'd say. Like like they just started this one, cause like if you can tell, like that's their main, like that's like their governor's house compared to that one over there. That governor's house is huge. So yeah, they got a lighthouse, and then there's like a small town. And then these ships, I imagine, would go intercept that one, so that guy's probably screwed. Did I ever get to their capital ship? Or their flagship? This is theirs. It's kind of the most, I guess, simple, but also, it looks really nice. And I believe it's the biggest. It might be close. I don't think this is gonna work at all, but measuring there, yeah, I'm almost 100% sure that that one is longer. Yeah. So they have the biggest flagship, the biggest single navy, but these guys are outnumbered once you add in those guys, and then these guys as well. But if it comes to a land war, then these guys pretty easily win, because they have just a huge population. They got 3 big cities. These guys have, like, they also have 3 big cities, but they're more of, like, they're smaller big cities. But, yeah, so those guys are singularly the most powerful, but these guys are attacking them, and then these guys are kind of third partying, you know, coming in from the back. So, we'll get onto this island. You know, they got a smaller farm to feed their population. And then they got they have a wall right here. you know, to defend their stuff. This is kind of weird, but like I imagine it's like like a cult or like a king. I don't know if it's not a kingdom, but it's like a cult or society that kind of worships like a sky god or like a moon god or something. So they like build their like big towers and stuff. They got a tree up here. That's one thing I wish I did. I wish I made the trees like some of them were snowy, like if you got higher up. I checked, and I don't know how I made these trees so small. I must have found like an absolutely tiny pine tree, because I found this a really small like snowy pine and then shrunk it, and it was like that much taller than these trees. It was way too tall. But they got this forest right here. It's hanging out. This area is kind of just a rural area. Don't really. Can I change the time? This is annoying. I wish it was. I literally know for a fact that this is directly on top of the center of the island. Like the ocean tile that this is on. This is directly in the middle of the map. These islands actually might have been added later, because I started with just this one ocean tile. And I had like a bunch of stuff just scattered around it for uh, like, uh, galleries and such to make small things. Yeah, but so they hold this like middle valley area. This was the easiest way to move between the two halves of the island. So if you don't hold this, you're essentially kind of you can't really get to this side without a big conflict. So this is the like sky cult thing. They got their big mountain, their spire mountain. I imagine they kind of just chill, like they just hang to themselves, and these guys don't really care what they do. Like, yeah, these guys don't really care what they do. These guys aren't like violent towards these guys. And then, so we come over here. They got their little colony with their houses and their farm and such. This fortress, forest over here, like a rocky area. This little cliff, which is kind of like I was trying to make a really like steep cliff without that like leaned out a little bit. It's okay. It's not great, you know. It's not bad. And then we'll move on to the newest addition, I guess I'd say. This mountain is really nice, which I believe Jeremy did almost all of this, if not all of this mountain. I don't actually remember. Maybe I did this, maybe Jeremy did. I made this mountain though. I made it a lot taller and stuff. But these guys, Oral, um, still trying to figure out what like the story that they have is. I like figuring out the story. Uh, like kind of their overarching stories that they used to be much more powerful, but they've since gone into like decay. So like they used to have this big, impressive castle up here. They had like villages around here. I don't know. I guess I'd say like they used to control the whole island from their like from their seat of power on this mountain area. But since then I'm not sure why, but maybe they got attacked by someone, maybe a big plague came in. They've gone into decline, so their big castle is gone. This is their like castle now, which I really like this castle. Like I like that it has actual roofs, you know. I like these little small walls that I made, which if you go into this, they're like just pillars poking out of the ground. Like this is a nice castle right here. Even like the main structure of this part is really nice. I got these little pieces poking out by like putting like this tower just like inside of them, so they have this little like balconies. That's what it's all about, you know. It feels so good when you're doing like a tiny build and you figure out some like cool way to make something interesting. then I also used the very top of that to add like a little circular piece right here. And then they got a little tower. This village is inhabited. I don't know. That might not get portrayed super well. Yeah, let me add some like pumpkins and stuff to kind of like be like, yeah, people live here. You know, like help show that people live here. Where do I have cabbages over here? I don't. Sprinkle a few cabbages in for these guys. Cabbages really just make it like they're bright green and they make it like they help the other crops look make it more interesting and stuff. Yeah, so these guys like used to be really powerful. They used to control their own island. And I imagine they were the first, or no. So these guys were like kind of ones like that was the first city, and then they start expanded out from there. I think you could say maybe that someone else, someone else owned this island and ruled from right here, and then they got obliterated. They no longer are having a good time. So now these guys own this island. So at one point, it was probably these guys owned this whole island. Probably didn't have this whole setup right here, but like they had a dock here. It just wasn't this powerful. But they had this whole area. Maybe didn't have that castle there, but they had like a castle here. So they owned this entire island. Bridge wasn't here, obviously, because these guys owned this island. And then these guys owned this whole island. You know. And then over here it was like a split. Like these guys right here controlled this half and this like corner area. Uh, these guys over here controlled like this chunk, and these guys over here control like this chunk. And these guys were probably held in check and like a lot less powerful. Like they didn't have this good of a navy. I imagine that these guys have been so powerful for so long that like they've kind of like not paid attention to these dudes, you know. Maybe they like came over and kind of slapped them, like stop it, like so like their big statue got destroyed and like they like got their navy got destroyed, kind of like if you know Game of Thrones, the Greyjoy rebellion. So they came over and were like, no. So now that and they've just kind of let them fester and build up their navy and get super powerful. So I imagine these guys are like kind of super cocky and arrogant and believe that they're like super powerful. And these guys are kind of similar, but like they more value themselves off of their military doctrine and like how and how like tough and battle hardened they are. While these guys are more like, oh yeah, we got all the people, we have the giant island, we have the biggest city and castle and stuff, the greatest architectural feats and amazements. So currently, like, kind of the thing that's going on is these guys and those guys are both, like, kind of colonizing this island and, like, trying to take control over it, which is kind of why this war broke out. These guys got here first, you know, they have a pretty, it's a pretty medium-sized little town right here with the lighthouse, and then they got here first, so they established this wall. But then these guys got here a little bit later and set up their whole thing. Meanwhile, which maybe this is kind of how these guys went into decline. Like these guys and these guys were kind of like vultures coming in and taking them over. These guys are kind of just up on their hill, like trying to not die. Which, so there used to be a bridge here, obviously. You can see the fallen part. And this whole castle got destroyed by something. Maybe it's a natural disaster, maybe there's a military conflict. Like when these guys first showed up, they came over here and destroyed these guys. So the way they get in now is like they have a little fortress right here that guards the entrance into the mountain, which comes up like there. and then you have to get into the castle over here somewhere. And you got their little village. They're hanging out, and then they got a smaller outpost over there. But this might be my favorite, like, little castle design. It has the best scale, I think. Like, it has a lot of detail for being small. These guys, it's just kind of a thing that I added in because I had an idea and wanted to do it. I really don't like this. A little behind the scenes. I'll actually throw in the futuristic island once I finish the medieval island, which is like my favorite thing that I've ever built in Fortnite. It's beautiful. That's not even like capping. It is genuinely really pretty at some points. I used to have there used to be a roof on this, but I like being able to see the sky. Where was I? Yeah, I think this castle might be the best because it has it has a roof. It has a lot of detail for being small. It's the most realistic, I think, looking castle. Number one in its size, because these castles are just huge. And like this one, it doesn't have any. I could add those other roofs to it. I could probably just take those roofs and add them to this, but I think that'd be kind of cheap, you know. And I think this one looks fine. You'd think these guys are the villains, but I actually see those guys as the villains. Number one, because they're instigating the war over here. Like, these guys look all, like, spiky and scary and stuff, but I see them more as the good guys. There aren't really any good guys or bad guys, because, you know, I think they were both instigating each other, since they both colonized this island and kind of fed into the downfall of these guys. These guys up here. This is, like, my favorite mountain as well. Like, if you look at the mountain itself, it's really detailed and has a lot of layers. This mountain has 2 layers. Which is, you can show... There's another cool thing about this map. You can see my progression through, the years. Which this island did not used to look like this. It used to look so much more blocky. I've gone through and changed... It's like, look at this island. This island doesn't look blocky at all. This one looks really blocky, but, you know, I don't really want to change it. I made a lot of the curves a little bit better. Like, this coast looks pretty solid. Like, over here, it's bad. It's bad, but I'm not gonna change it, because number one, I think it's good to see how bad things used to be. Like, this island, I also changed and made it better. This one looks okay, actually. Yeah, but I like seeing the progression that I made. This is like, look at this. I went from this island, which is, it's good, you know, I like it. It had the beginnings. I made this tree, which is made out of 2 different things. This is a bush and, like, a broken tree stump, like, stuck together. These walls are actually really nice. Look at that. Yeah, but it went from, like, this. Oh, yeah, I added, like, walls to this. It's like a full-blown mansion, bro. I went to from this, where the mountains are, like, only, like, 3-4 layers max. And then, which you can actually follow it. I went to this, which actually Jeremy might have made this. This is a good mountain right here. I like this. It's a nice little hill. 2 layers right there. This is the first time that we did, which this might have been Jeremy as well. Where we did like lower levels, you know. If you look on this island, there's one single flat level on the entire island, which isn't horrible, but it's not good. This one, you go down, you know. There's different layers. Yeah, but I like that there's different layers on this. You know, you can see the height on it. I like to make a castle like that, which is kind of what I did over here. I'll show you that in a second. So you can see the progression. Over here, we bumped it up to a big scale. We got our entire city lower down. And we had like a castle on one, two, three, four different levels. Wait, no, five. Because you have this level, this level, this level, this level, and then this level. And then our mountains got a lot better, you know, we added, like, they weren't really squares anymore. Look at this mountain. It's not really a square. That one's not a square. This one is not a square at all. You can actually follow it. It's like a, here, you know. This one isn't great, but, you know, it's whatever. Our buildings got a lot more intricate. And, like here, this is like the most intricate building we have, actually. It's beautiful. Things got a lot less square, we got a lot more, like, detailed and stuff. Which I remember I just added this, like, in, like, 30 minutes one day. I was like, let's just add another island over here with another, like, dude kingdom area. And then that finally takes us over to here, where the mountain is really, really good. It has so many different layers, and it's not really square at all. And then the castle on it is a good, like, a lot more believable size. It's detailed, even though it's smaller than the other castles. It's a lot more realistic looking, you know. I like the progression. We'll go check in on the behind the scenes stuff. This is where we made the flagships. There's Jeremy's barge, or like, not barge, cargo ship. Here's our base ship right here. You can like see all its design. And there, oh yeah. If you go under a lot of the builds and on this map, they look really weird. So they got their two big sails and a smaller sail in front. And like obviously this is the biggest ship right here. And then there's this ship, which, like, look at this absurdity. They got their main sail and then a bunch of smaller sails over here. It's kind of in between the sizes, and then this is the small guy's flagship. And the frickin' barge, which actually, to be fair, or not barge, cargo ship, it looks a lot like a cargo ship. Let's go to the unfinished futuristic area. So we started out with just a bunch of floating islands above the water, and I believe we did actually build this. Which we did this before this over, that island right there. This used to be just these three big islands and then the small island scattered around. That island was there, actually. Okay, I gotta go through this quickly. So we got the floating islands with their train networks in between. Museum Island, this is the like main government island. Hotels, factories, not really sure. And then this is their science area on the ground. Then all the poor people are kind of packed into these big cities with the governors like up here. This is their like little ports, even though they're like sky ports. These are their cities. They're actually ships. They're like toilet bowls actually. Once again, this is not done. Train fell off. This is like the train station for the city, and then this is like their governor's building, and all their poor people are like in there. This is actually a really creative city. Look at that. You can go. The ships go in, and then they come back out this way. Like that's cool. That's pretty much all there is to this area. Which we might expand on this, we might not. I like it. You know, I like the domes with all the poor people. Then you can see the richer people in there. So yeah, this is the kind of behind the scenes. We got all the ships, a lot of the terrain pieces over here. This was for the futuristic stuff. And then this stuff over here was for the new island, like this island right here. Yeah, look at that. I was gonna do like a city, a tiny city, and might still in the future. I might still keep adding on to this or make a different like tiny kingdom. I'll also probably make a copy of the map that has little text blurbs explaining all of the like lore. Oh, that's so funny, bro. Once again, I'd like to mention that Jeremy helped massively with all like the trees, copying buildings around, and terraining. Like he did all this like lower land terrain right here. I want to say he did this mountain right here. I added on like this little piece, I added onto it, and then he also made the base for this mountain. But props to Jeremy for doing all the terraining and dirty work for this map. Might make an update in the future depending on how much we add and if we add more stuff. You know, like another, there's still space for like another island here, over here, here, even like there. This area is kind of